In the Vining. Without the Vining, she is off for the rest of the week. Catherine Kayat instead
Good
today.
morning.
I got a 50% chance of rain, a high of 87 today, 40% chance tomorrow, 89, and then about 45. I love it when they're so certain that they actually feel like they can set the numbers. Oh, it's 45.3% chance. We feel pretty good about the 45.3%. You're like, it's 40 or 50. Just give us a nice round 10% number. You know, we need something that ends in a zero. Don't be giving me 45. That's nonsense. Anyway, that's supposedly what's happening on Thursday. So we may have some rain. This could be the afternoon weather pattern, or it may be actual rain that is moving in from somewhere else. I don't know because I can't figure out the maps any longer. We got 5 different sources for weather, and they tell us 5 different things.
Well, and they change.
Yeah,
They change all the time.
all the time.
Constantly.
Absolutely.
Hour to hour.
Woke up this morning, found out that it did rain at my house last night. I didn't hear anything. I didn't recognize anything, but there was a little puddle in my driveway, a little bit of, a little moisture on the side. I was like, okay, well, there you go. Wasn't supposed to. Heard no rain at all. Heard it was going to be nice and dry. Liars. Sorry.
Were you asleep?
I didn't mean to be bitter. I was kind of. I had another rough night, this breathing thing that is affecting me. I don't understand why it happens so much in the nighttime hours. Like, I can take a 2-hour nap in the middle of the day without a problem, but I lie down at night and suddenly I'm gasping for air like a fish out of water.
Are you sitting up in your little Barca-lounger, Paw Barca-lounger?
I go. That's the way I eventually have to go. I have to sit up in my Barca-lounger because if I don't, then I'm lying down as a no-go. It's not fun. This is not enjoyable. I'm still waiting.
Sorry.
Insurance is going to come through with this miracle shot supposedly,
Okay.
which I believe is actually it's what they use to kill convicts with. So that'll put me out of my misery. It'll be nice.
It'll fix you one way or the other.
It's this or nitrogen hypoxia. Yeah. As long as my suffering is over, that's what really matters. Anyway, I wanted to. Catherine here, of course, is a defense attorney, criminal defense attorney. Now, she's not a criminal defense attorney. I mean, she's a criminal defense attorney. You know what I'm trying to say? Okay, because sometimes people don't know.
Do you know what you're trying to say?
No, I don't.
Okay, just checking.
This is a product of a lack of sleep. I watched the Idaho murders documentary on Netflix.
Okay.
Couple of things that struck me. Steve, have you seen this? Did you watch
I
it?
haven't yet. No,
Okay.
it is on my list, though.
All right. Couple of things that struck me because I was kind of here for all of it and keeping an eye on the news the whole time. There were a couple of things that were left out that I thought was kind of interesting.
Okay.
I'm going to assume because of the way it was handled, there were 2 families that were not a part of it. Of the 4 people who were killed.
Of the documentary.
Okay. In the documentary.
Okay.
They just chose, I guess, not to participate. And I don't blame them. If my child had died in a horrific manner like that, and it was the victim of a murder, and Netflix came knocking, I would be like, I don't think so. I'd be like, I'm not comfortable with, doing that with my daughter's death. I'm not going to say it seems crass. It's not for everyone, and it wouldn't be for me.
Okay.
So I get why these 2 families chose not to do it. But, for instance, Brian Koberger, the guy who has now pleaded guilty and is now trying to get out from under his guilty plea,
I've heard that.
he
Yeah.
started to realize, hey, prison kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have done this. I should have fought this thing. But he, at one point, was contacting one of the girls that lived in that house. He had texted her multiple times.
Okay.
They had
I
gone-
don't
yeah.
think I knew that.
They'd gone back and forth a little
I
bit.
know there was
and
one that he was obsessed with.
Right.
But
He-
they didn't
he-
say what that obsession was or
He asked
how that
her-
manifested.
He
or
asked her
whatever.
out, and she said, I don't think so, and that
Okay.
was pretty much the end of that. I think he texted her a couple more times after that, and she was cordial, but all of that was left out of this, which I thought was interesting. I thought, well, maybe it was one of the girls whose families were like, we don't want to be a part of this.
Sure.
Entirely possible. But also, they sped right through, because it's 3 episodes. It's 3 episodes, and it starts with, obviously, the murder. Second episode is called The Intruder, where they really discuss, because for the first episode, these families, they didn't find out how their kids died for 48 hours. They were just told, oh, by the way, your kid at college, Idaho, dead.
Oh.
Yeah. And they're like, well, what happened? Well, we can't tell you right now.
Oh.
You can't tell me right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's hurt.
Yeah,
Hurtful.
that would be horrific, I
Yeah.
would think. So Anyway, the second episode was Intruder, and this is where they find out that their children were stabbed to death, which is, a part of you is kind of like, oh, a gunshot would be quick and clean.
Yeah.
Stabbed. One girl was stabbed 50 times.
Yeah.
Good
Probably
morning,
the
everybody.
girl.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Yeah.
Well, she fought back, is what the thing was. She had all kinds of defensive
Do we know if
wounds
it's
on
the
her.
the girl with the obsession? Was that his
We don't
rage
know.
coming out on her, or was it because she fought? Okay, we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know because, again, they didn't even address the whole obsession thing. They just left that completely off the table, which was interesting. And then the third act was basically the catching of Brian Koberger and then the building of the case and, having to track down the information, how they got the guy. I thought it was fascinating at the time. I still think it's fascinating. They got a little bit of DNA on that knife sheath that he left
Yeah.
at the scene, which was, how do you go in, stab 4 people to death, and leave your knife sheath at the scene? That was Mr. I'm studying criminal law. This is what I'm doing in criminology. I'm going to be a criminologist.
You're not taking into account the adrenaline that you're going to have.
Sure.
You're not really thinking smart in the first place.
Probably
I
not.
mean,
If you've decided you're going to go kill 4 people right off
Right.
the bat, your motives are questionable.
Right.
So, but they find that DNA, and because there was nothing in the criminal database,
POTUS, yeah.
I mean, they went through the whole thing. They can match it up very quickly nowadays, or not match it up, as the case may be. And so they went to like one of the commercial places, like 23andMe, or what's the other one? The Ancestry.com,
Ancestry.com.
something like that. Places where they have this stuff. And sure enough, they tracked it down. They got his name flat out. They're like, here it is. It's Brian Koberger. At the same time, you'd have the police. They were looking at the vehicle, and they'd found all kinds of footage of the vehicle as it was driving around in the neighborhood. And they found a perfect shot of it. It was a Hyundai, a 2019 Hyundai Accordion, I believe, and Elantra, something like that. And so this guy, it's Brian Koberger. This is the car that he drives. And like, boom, bingo. Now we just have to build the case. They went and picked him up in Pennsylvania on the other side of the country, which was pretty amazing in and of itself.
Yes.
But first they had to go through their garbage and find some sort of DNA that they could match up and say, this is definitely the guy, because you couldn't just say, well, first off, it's not admissible in a court of law to use like the 23andMe stuff or the Ancestry.com stuff. I didn't know that.
Right.
I thought that was
It
fascinating.
would be enough to get a search warrant,
Yes.
but
And that's what they did. But
Yeah.
they didn't even need that because once you push your garbage to the curb, it is considered abandoned.
Right.
And you get to go through it. And they found
Yes.
a Q-tip that had some of his dad's DNA on it. And they figured out that this is how the whole thing worked out. But then, again, there was a lot more to that after that was then left out of this documentary because I remember it as they went through and they started building the case and they had a lot more evidence than that. I mean, they had a pretty good amount that it was kind of like, this guy's going down.
Yeah.
And he's going down hard, and there's not really a question about it.
Did they bring into the documentary because they knew that he was sitting outside the girls that were that house?
Mm-hmm.
They knew that he was sitting outside on multiple occasions, so stalking her because his phone would try to
Right.
handshake with the Wi-Fi.
Right.
And even if he didn't hook up to it, his phone was trying to,
Right.
or it was at least within the signal.
They did
of it.
not address that. Again, another part of it that I thought was interesting that they
There was
left out.
so much; it would
They
have been
did-
like 10 episodes
It
or
could have
20
been.
episodes long.
And I would have been okay with it, but there being an extra episode if necessary. But they did talk about his cell phone pinging all the towers nearby and
Yeah.
so on and so forth. And then, strangely enough, his phone being off that night. Now, lots of video of his car in the neighborhood, but somehow his phone wasn't on. That one night, what are the chances?
Well, he's a criminologist, Richard.
yes.
He was thinking about that.
Oh, yeah, but he wasn't thinking about the other 17 times he was over there.
Right.
They also spent a lot of time on theories that were being thrown about online and on social media and so on and so forth. And I was like, I have to admit, I don't remember any of that because I wasn't paying attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently in that area, everybody had an idea of who did it, and they were all wrong, of course. Nobody knew who Brian Koberger was. But they spent far too much time on that and not enough time on the evidence. I bring all that up because it was the defense that reached out to the prosecution and said, hey, how about a plea deal? And the prosecutor said, yeah, okay, we'll consider that. We'll take the death penalty off the table. But here's the thing, 4 consecutive life sentences plus 10 years. And they were like, okay, guess
Yeah.
we'll take that, Now Koberger is trying to claim that he was coerced and that he had a bad lawyer and he needs a new lawyer. And the judge actually gave him, okay, you can have a new lawyer. I don't know that they're going to allow him to rescind his guilty plea. I don't think he's going to be able to get away with that. I didn't know what I was doing.
Probably not. I mean, I've been asked to, I've been retained to file a motion to rescind a guilty plea before, and then but it wasn't a case that I worked on originally. The guy didn't plead guilty with me at the time, but then going back and looking at it and like, oh, buddy, you really don't want to rescind this plea.
Yeah.
I promise you did the right thing and didn't want to hear it. But I mean, when you're talking about your other alternative is the death penalty, like, so if you do get a new trial and you're going to trial and the death penalty's on the table, what are you thinking?
The thing with Kohberger is like, okay, buddy, you want to actually go to trial? Because death penalty is now back in play.
Yeah.
I would think he might be like, you know what, never mind. This life in prison is okay. I'll stick around here. We get to watch The View every day. It's fun. It's 6:17. That is Catherine Kite. She is in for the vacationing Valerie Vining. Aqua Systems water is the best water on earth. I wash my clothes with it. I wash my dishes with it. I wash my dogs with it. I wash my truck with it. I haven't washed my truck with it in a while. I really need to. Great thing about it is no water spots. It's amazing. When you use Aqua Systems water coming out of your hose and you wash and you can let it air dry and you don't get any water spots on your vehicle. No need for the chamois. Good stuff, man. Not only that, but of course, everything you cook with it tastes better. Soaps suds better. You use less shampoo. You use less detergent, dishwashing liquid, you name it. Less of everything that has to do with cleaning. You will love your experience with Aqua Systems water, but you have to call and get a free no-obligation presentation. 383-3999, the telephone number, 383-3999. Find them online at iwantgreatwater.com. No commission salespeople means you're going to save a bundle. 623. Dixon and Vining, Talk 99.5, talk995.com. You got about a 50-50 chance of rain over the course of the next 3 days, which kind of feels like every day, right? Isn't there always a 50-50 chance of rain?
Yep.
Is it going to rain? Could. Maybe not. It might.
In
We're
the
not sure.
summertime, for
Exactly.
sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Certainly in the great state of Alabama. Highs in the upper 80s instead of the mid-90s as we were told originally, and I'm A-OK with that. Now, why don't we just dive in and get started with this, huh?
And now, it's Dixon and Vining's top 3 things you need to know.
Well, here it is. Same song, different verse. The president once again says, well, let's just pause this bombing and then we'll talk and we can make some great progress and we're having great conversations and everything's going well. And Iran says, we're not talking to anybody. I don't know what you're talking about. And he says, I can't believe they're doing this again. This is amazing. They really want to get hit. They obviously want to die. And so we're going to see if anything actually comes of this, but it looks like exactly the same game we have seen played multiple times. And listening to what some of the experts, the people who have been right about this stuff up until now, have been saying, Iran should be very, very concerned about what's coming next because it's not the same old, same old. It's not going and bombing some bridges and bombing some power stations. It actually would involve commandos potentially on the ground, specifically seeking out and killing members of the IRGC, which is enough to get your attention, I would think.
I would think.
Yeah, that might be enough to make you go like, whoa, hold on, they're coming after us?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was going to happen.
Remains to be seen, but I don't even pretend to understand where the mindset is with them continuing to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
No.
I'm out. I got nothing. Again,
I can't blame you. I mean,
Yeah.
nobody can really understand it because we have a Western mindset, and they have one that is built entirely around Islam. And again, we measure things in terms of seconds, minutes, maybe a day. They tend to measure things in terms of thousands of years. So they're extremely patient, and they're willing to play this game for as long as they think it's going to take. So it's going to really take some serious firepower and putting the hurt on them in a way that has not happened up until now. Because, you know, they're just like, they're just buildings. They're bombing some buildings. We can rebuild those, no problem. When they start coming after you, it gets a little bit more serious. We'll see. You may have heard the story of the former police officer who has been charged with rape in the case involving a 14-year-old girl. This, of course, is in Birmingham. Well, the judge Monday denied bond for this police officer. 38-year-old Gregory Thompson will remain in custody after the ruling. Prosecutors described the alleged abuse of power during the hearing as everybody's worst nightmare.
that we have to be able to trust our cops, and that is the allegations levied against this guy are pretty horrendous.
If you take it from the start here, he got called to a domestic disturbance. He met this 14-year-old victim, got her phone number. 38. He's 38. Calls the 14-year-old. Agrees to take her to some apartment complex she said she wanted to go to in Center Point. Picks her up, and they get some food. He buys her some vapes. You're going, what are you doing? You're 38 years old, for the love of God.
You call that grooming?
Yeah, no question. He then ends up taking her to his place later, and this is where the alleged rape takes place. I think the judge was probably spot on in this case. This is not the kind of guy that should be given any sort of bail or be allowed to wander around. And he, fortunately, wasn't a police officer for a very long time in the city of Birmingham, but any amount of time was really too much.
Yeah.
When you think about it. Looks like we will not have a government shutdown. Senate leaders managed to reach a deal on a bill to fund the government past the midterm elections. What this really comes down to is they're funding it until like 2 days after the midterm elections. You know, they're like, okay, and then we'll fight over what we're going to do next at that point. It's so ludicrous and ridiculous because, of course, Congress tends to wait until the absolute last moment when everything is a crisis before they do anything. And they're about to take off on a big, long old break. They love to take a nice 3-week vacay here in August and come back right after Labor Day. And that's when, obviously, the real campaigning begins for the midterm. So that's one of the reasons that they'll be coming back. But also, you know, this is their chance to supposedly go back and talk to their constituents. I'm not sure that's exactly what they're going to be doing. Some of them will be going on junkets. Some of them will be just, I tell you what they're not going to be doing. They're not going to be working on passing the Save America Act. That's for sure, which is sad. I can't for the life of me. Well, John Thune, first off, is a bit of a weasel. I mean, here's a guy in charge of the Senate who so many House bills that are very good, qualified House bills that make it through the House go up to the Senate, and they die 1,000 deaths there. Daylight savings time bill. That's never going to see the light of day, so to speak. It's insane. And so he can't explain why do they not have the votes. If you could get to the point where all you need is 51, do you have the votes to pass the Save America Act? Well, no, we don't. Why not? Which Republicans are against showing an ID when you vote? I need answers.
Yeah. So I don't know if I have enough time to tell a story. The boyfriend's going to get LASIK in December.
Yeah.
He went ahead and paid for it last week because the past 2 times he's tried to get the LASIK, the government shut down right beforehand, and he didn't know when he was going to get paid again.
Yes, he's a wildfire fighter.
He is out in Oregon.
Very nice.
Right now, fighting some of those out on the west.
Okie dokie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard half that state is on fire right now. Washington is too. That's very bad.
Boise.
All right. Prayers for Kevin. 6:30, Dixon and Vining, Talk 99.5, talk995.com. Stick around. 6:35, Dixon and Vining, Talk 99.5, Talk995.com. Valerie Vining off for the rest of the week. Catherine Kite, first of 3 fill-in jobs for you today. Unless, of course, you hate it, in which case I don't expect you'll be back.
I have been back. I hadn't quit on you yet.
I've hated it before, and I'm still here. Good. That's what I like to hear. Work Trucks is downtown, 2324 3rd Avenue South. If you need a truck for your business, these guys, they scour the country. They bring them in from all over. Put them through a 125-point inspection and put them on the lot at great low prices. They also outfit however you see fit. So if you decide you want maybe a big old toolbox on that thing, or maybe you need a ladder rack, perhaps you're looking for a winch or some tie-downs, they do any and all of that. They'll even put like a crane arm on it if that's what you're looking for. They do this because they love doing it, because they are the Southeast #1 pre-owned work truck dealer. They save you a lot of time and a lot of money by doing the legwork for you. Work Trucks with an XLLC.com. Trade, finance, get an extended warranty. Find them live and in person at 2324 3rd Avenue South. The hypocrisy never ceases to amaze me. First off, it seems as though finally the Democratic Socialists of America are beginning to break through and make some headway, because everywhere I look, I'm seeing stories about them. And I'm like, on Talk 99.5, we've been talking about these people for about a year now. So I'm glad the rest of the world is finally catching up that there are these socialist candidates who are pushing socialism and think socialism is the answer. Mamdani, of course, being kind of the tip of the spear, because he is the mayor of the largest city in the United States of America, which is amazing. Normally, that's not an entry-level position. Yeah. Not normally something that you hand to somebody who's never run anything so much as a lemonade stand until now. Anyway,
It's happened with the president seat before, but anyway.
Yeah.
As you were.
That would be Barack Obama.
As you were.
Of. Yes, I agree. Now, Mamdani's brilliant idea is something that has only failed 700 times before, and that is a government-run grocery store. And they want to set this up in New York. Now, the first thing you need to know about this is it's going to cost as much as $70 million to get the first one built, something which the private sector could do for about $3 million.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, you're running behind with the government. Secondly, they just announced yesterday that you will have to have some kind of ID to shop at this grocery store in New York City to prove you are a New York resident. Because Catherine, people may come from outside of New York and try to game the system by shopping there. So we have to have an ID to prove they are who they say they are.
The heck you say.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll have, like the mobile ID makers out there. So that way, at no cost, we'll make you an ID.
You can churn one out. They said it's going to be somewhat similar to a library card or something like that. But you would have to provide some ID to prove that you are who you say you are to get the little library card, right? So this is the hypocrisy never ceases to amaze me. We can't have people showing ID to vote. That's racist. That's horrible. Now, to go to the grocery store, absolutely, we need that. We got to have the ID for that, but not for the voting thing. Come on, that's crazy.
I mean, is there I'm sorry, my brain. It's still early in the morning. You have to go get your, you have to go change your residency within 30 days of moving.
Sure. Change your address.
So if you're going to be homeless in Pennsylvania, is there an elimination period? Well, you must be homeless in New York for X amount of time. And we must be able to prove that you've been homeless in New York for a certain amount of time before we can issue this ID.
Yeah.
Or is it just any homeless person could now I'm a New York resident.
I don't know that you could actually prove that you're a New York resident if you are homeless.
Exactly my point. Okay.
Well, I mean, it's not a food bank. This is supposed to be a grocery store that is designed to keep prices low for people who live in the city. So they'll be able to come in,
right?
And they say, we can sell stuff for like 30% lower. I'm thinking, you're not selling it for lower. You're subsidizing it.
Yeah.
You're using taxpayer dollars to make up that 30% so that the store can actually remain functional. Because if you didn't, the store would go out of business almost immediately. Now, Add to this, this is something I read yesterday. It has to do with the parameters for bidding on being the contractor to put these stores together, running these stores, et cetera, et cetera. So in other words, the government's not going to do it. They're going to have somebody do it for them, but the government is going to pay a third party to run these stores.
Okay.
All right, okay, I get where you're going with that. That's probably the best way to do things because government doesn't do anything terribly well. But you have to bid on all 5 stores. You have to bid to run all 5 stores. But you're probably not going to get all 5. You'll get probably no more than 2. Okay, so you're bidding based upon, I'm going to get all 5 because, obviously more is better, and you can do things at a discount if you're buying all 5 of the stores, or you're paying it for all 5 of the stores. But then they go, no, I'm sorry, we're only going to sell you 2, but we want them priced as if you were buying all 5. Well, that doesn't seem right somehow.
What?
Yeah. And then they say the same thing in terms of what you're going to be carrying and how you're going to be carrying all of these groceries and where you're going to be getting them from. They're not going to have a deli, but they are going to be selling things like chicken salad and fruit salad. And you go, what do you think? Is that stuff going to show up already prepared, or are you going to have people there on site preparing it? And how much are you paying these people? And how does this thing stay in business? It is probably the most financially unstable game plan I have ever seen laid out. And almost everybody who understands anything about economics is saying the exact same thing. And yet Mamdani continues to say, no, we're forging on with this. It's going to be great.
Are they taking bids on it yet?
Yes.
Okay. Have they said how many people are clamoring to be a part of this?
They have not.
Okay.
I'll be interested
Probably for a
to see.
reason.
Well, it's going to be years before the first one gets done. And quite frankly, I'm not sure it'll ever get done. I think this is a lot of talk.
Yeah.
I think this,
probably.
This reminds me a lot of California's rail system.
Yeah.
$16 billion spent, not 1 foot of rail laid. I mean, at some point, you're like, I don't know if you guys have any idea what you're doing. It's starting to look like maybe you're clueless on this stuff.
Maybe they tried and the logistics just don't work.
Mm-hmm.
But they're trying.
Oh,
but
yeah,
the logistics don't work, so you never get any rail laid or stores open. Or
and the funny
anything
thing is,
organically.
we knew
It's
that
gonna happen
already,
way.
I think.
they
Yeah.
honestly believe they should get points for trying. And you're like, no. The world actually, we only reward results. We don't reward trying. If you're a salesperson and you go out and every day you try to sell a car and every day you fail, at the end of the month, your boss is going to look at you and go, we don't have a paycheck for you, buddy. Sorry.
Yeah.
You don't get bonus points for trying. We really need you to move some product off the lot here, So that's the ridiculousness that is. And now the fact that they had to go public with, we're going to need to see some ID, is the biggest thumb in the eye I have ever seen. It's hilarious.
But their reward for trying, he will get reelected.
He might. I mean, the thing is, New York City's not going to go off the rails in 4 years. It'll get close, but the way things work, and this happened under Hugo Chavez, for instance, 4 years into Hugo Chavez's first term, Venezuela was paradise. 4 years later, it was significantly less paradise. 4 years after that, it was hell.
Yeah.
So that's what the problem with socialism is, that up front, you collect, you grab all this money, you pile it in, you start throwing it around. It's great. You run a little bit of a deficit. It's no big deal. We're going to make this work. It's going to be fabulous. Everybody gets everything they want. We got free childcare for you. We got free buses for you. We got rent control for you people. 4 years in, everybody's like, I can't believe how great this is. And 4 years later, suddenly there's nowhere to live because the rent control failed miserably. You've got homeless people sleeping on the buses because they're free. Why would you sleep in a bus shelter or on the street if you can get in a nice warm bus and crash there and pee and poop there as well? Why not? The free child care turns out to be run by a whole bunch of people who aren't really qualified to take care of children and, of course, are not being paid because little by little you're running out of money. And at the end of 8 years, you start to wonder, why did we think this was a good idea? Well, because you're economically incompetent. You don't have any idea about the number of people in this country that are economically illiterate is frightening to me.
Which is why I say he will get reelected.
Yeah. Yeah, he probably will, because like I said, in 4 years, it'll be like, things are going great. Alabama Tree Pros, 308-4158, when you need a tree chopped up, taken down, trimmed up, or maybe even saved. Alabama Tree Pros could do any or all of those things for you. Visit their website, alabamatreepros.com, to get a good education about what they do. But I can tell you from experience and from the experience of friends of mine that when you call Alabama Tree Pros, you're getting the best in the business and you're getting them for less. Find out more, alabamatreepros.com, 308-4158. Save the tree, trim the tree, take it all the way down, grind up the stump. They do it all at Alabama Tree Pros, 308-4158. You know who does a really great version of this song is the Cash Domino Killers, who are not playing anywhere anytime soon.
Why not?
No one hires us.
Oh, they should. Somebody hire the man and his band.
No, we're good, actually. We just finished a couple of gigs, and right now it's like, yeah, we're just laying low. We'll be back in the game probably September, October, something like that. But I'm one of those guys. If we play 2 gigs every 3 months, that makes me very happy. I'm a happy camper. Those drums are hard to move. It's 6:51. Dixon and Vining. She's Catherine Kite. I'm Richard Dixon. Valerie Vining is off this week. Alabama Men's Clinic wants to talk to you about the use of GLP-1s. What exactly are we talking about? Well, you've heard of Ozempic and Wegovy and Mounjaro and all of that stuff. This is actually a compounded GLP-1 that they use at the Alabama Men's Clinic, and it is very, very closely watched. They monitor you. They actually are the ones who provide the injections. It's not a do-it-yourself situation where they send you home with some needles and go, good luck. No, they're actually going to keep an eye on you week in, week out, find out how you're feeling, where's the weight loss going, are we staying hydrated, are we doing all the things that are necessary, are we building muscle? They're going to make sure that you do it the right way, and that is what they do at the Alabama Men's Clinic. Men is, in fact, their middle name. They deal with testosterone and ED and PD, and they can do something about hair loss, too, with the peptides and whatnot. So why not visit them online at alabamamensclinic.com, alabamamensclinic.com, 598-7000. If you want to call them and make an appointment, they would be delighted to hear from you, and your life could start improving almost immediately. New interstate interchange in Hoover is now getting more federal funding, and it is going to reduce the city's cost. I don't know how long it's going to take to get this thing done, but you live down there in that neck of the woods.
I did.
No? You did?
I
You don't live there anymore?
Is that we're talking about the one that's going towards like Brock's Gap,
Yes.
between 6 and 10
Right.
on 459?
Right.
I
Yeah,
did
think it's
live
gonna be
over
called
there.
Exit 9. I
Exit
think.
9.
Exit
yeah.
9.
Basically, there's an exit 10. There's going to be an exit 9, like 1 mile later. I don't know why we need another. Well, okay, whatever.
Well, have you ever driven in that area?
Oh, absolutely. I used
Yeah.
to live down there.
Yeah.
This is a really interesting, the way they've got it drawn out and where they're going to be putting all of these roads. It's going to connect an awful lot of stuff. I mean, we're talking about connecting Shades Crest on one side all the way over to the Ross Bridge Parkway on the other side, and putting you essentially in the vicinity of, well, everything that's down there on 150, the Hoover Met and all of that stuff, for sure. But also then you've got the Grove,
Yeah.
That's got that lovely shopping center up there, and there's. I'm just trying to imagine how long this is going to take, because it seems like they've been working forever on this one exit over on Lakeshore just to get 65. They're trying to straighten that out. That has been a screwed up mess since the day I moved to Birmingham in June of 2000. That's always been just a little wiki, and they finally said, you know what? Why don't we make this like all the other exits, like it's supposed to be? And it seems like they have been working on that for now a year.
Yeah. Longer than that.
It probably hasn't been, but
Yeah.
it just feels that way. 'Cause
Yeah.
I drive past it a lot, and I
Yeah.
think, boys, stop leaning on your shovels.
It will be, I can imagine that part of Hoover. It's such a cluster now, just trying to get back behind, just to get to Stadium Trace, to
Yeah.
get to Brock's Gap is such a cluster. I almost don't go down there
Mhm.
for that reason, when Brock's Gap has got a lot of really good restaurants and new things popping up down there. There's so much popping up down there. But it's kind of hard to get to
Mhm.
because Stadium Trace will become a cluster. 150 going up the other way towards South Shades Crest, absolute cluster. So I can only imagine how it's going to snarl while it's getting built. But, man, that's going to be great when it opens.
I was there not that long ago, a week or maybe a little bit more, and I had not been back in among the restaurants and whatnot over there at Stadium Trace in quite a while. Garibaldi's, right? That's the restaurant. That's the pizza restaurant, isn't it, Steve? Is that what I'm thinking of? Grimaldi's.
Grimaldi's,
yeah.
I knew you were close.
Yeah,
but I was like, wait a minute.
there's just a ton of stuff back there. I mean,
Yeah.
It's just amazing. All you have to do is take a left and turn in, and you're just like, okay, now my choices are myriad. Like, I'm a paralysis of analysis. I don't know what I want to eat now because I'm in the middle of all this stuff. But it is exactly what happens when you start building a whole bunch of businesses without bothering to take into effect traffic patterns. And that's why it is snarled. It's a mess, like you said. You drive down there, and it's I don't. It what was it Yogi Berra said? It's so packed, nobody ever goes there anymore.
Yeah. Well, and I didn't realize this until a couple of weeks ago. I bought something off of Marketplace, did a porch pickup, and it was down past that Blackledge, which is past the Met. Keep going.
Yep.
Keep going.
Yep.
And the address, I mean, he said it was Hoover, but that address was actually a Helena address. So they've built back so many neighborhoods back there, past beyond the Hoover Met, that it's actually gone into Helena back that way.
It's crazy.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, it's funny because everyone sort of decides collectively where they want to live. I remember when I first got here, Helena was the big move. Everybody wanted to live in Helena, and they were putting up these subdivisions as fast as they could possibly build them, and they were everywhere. And there wasn't a tree in sight. You'd drive into a neighborhood, and you'd be like, this is a lot of empty lawn with little twigs sticking up. Now, of course, the trees are actually there. It's been 30 years, which is great. There was a time when everybody was like, Trussville, everybody run to Trussville. And Trussville just exploded. And now we're at the point where this is the new thing, Hoover and Stadium Trace, and they want to get us more people back there, and they want to get more subdivisions back there. And, oh, by the way, Springville is exploding. And, people are just really trying to get the hell out of Birmingham is what I'm thinking.
I'm wondering if they'll do something like that with Trussville eventually, because just to get out to the only time I'm ever out in Trussville is for court. And court is next to that, what's that called? That entertainment area out there on Main Street? Ferris.
Yeah.
So court is just right past that. And that's a trek. That's a long way on 11 to get out there from the exit on 459. Or I guess you could take that first exit off of
59.
Off of 59.
2059, you get to Lake Chalkville and take
that feels like a trek.
You're coming the other way, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a ways. There's no question about it.
I'm wondering if they're ever going to build like another exit somewhere to make that a little bit more accessible, since they put all that stuff about as far away from the interstate and Trussville as you can get on either side. I don't know.
We'll call it the KK exit so that she can get there to court more frequently and easily.
That would be great.
Yeah. I mean,
that would be great.
Why aren't people thinking about you and your needs? That's
I
what
do
I'm
have
asking.
I do have some more that I could talk to folks about that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll get to
I'll
that.
be going to city halls all over the place.
Excellent.
Good luck with that.
Let's see here. Michelle, the lunch lady, says, good morning. I learned yesterday while getting my driver's license renewed that they can register you to vote right there on the spot, and will also update your address and voting location should you make any changes at the time of renewal. They will even give you your new voting location before you leave. That really sounds very simple and straightforward. For the record, I'd be perfectly fine if people that just need a state-issued ID for voting would receive it for free, especially those that may be physically handicapped and never became able to attain a driver's license. Yes, I would agree with that, but what you just described is how they ended up with several 100,000 people who were not supposed to be registered to vote in New Jersey, registered to vote in New Jersey. And several of them voted. Something like 400 of them actually showed up and voted. Not supposed to do that. This motor voter thing is the problem. When you go, well, as soon as you get a driver's license, you're automatically registered to vote. Being registered to vote should take some work.
Yeah.
You should have to want to register to vote, and you should have to fill out the forms yourself properly.
So she's saying that they register to vote them there?
Yeah.
Okay, because I went online, Aaliyah's website, and updated my address when I moved.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a change of address through the post office, which automatically updated everything, but I was already registered to vote.
Yeah, you're good to go. 7 o'clock, Dixon Dividing, Talk 99.5.